Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Tech Talks with Manju. We will discuss today about the Claude AI, how to utilize the tokens properly, how to optimize our search, and if we're gonna upgrade our particular plan, what would be the better options for us to proceed further. We'll discuss about the tokens, we'll discuss about the cost, and we'll discuss about the caching, which can be used on the cloud today. Okay, so to start with, we should start with understanding what is token in the AI concept. Okay, so human beings are using the words to communicate. Computers are using the ASCIIs to understand what is the input and output. So likewise, if the LLM has to understand what we are providing as an input and what exactly the LLM has to provide the output, we should use the tokens to communicate with LLMs. Okay. So in such cases, what are the tokens? Okay. So the tokens are everything, which means what is the message that we are providing? What is the message the AI is responding with? It can be files, attachments, system prompts, instructions, and entire conversation history, whatever we have done it previously. Okay. So how do we measure a particular token? In AI, we considerably consider four character equals to one token, or three-fourths of the word is equals to one token. Okay. So how does it work? In Claude AI, there are three part of billing structure. Okay. So one is haiku. Currently we are using 4.5. So it is used for the fast and lightweight responses. Okay. Whenever the users are considered to exchange the tokens, always the billing happens on million tokens. Okay. So per million token, there'll be a $1. Okay. So we'll consider this right now. There will be a two different billings that will happen. What is input cost and what is the output cost? Okay. So the input cost will have the only input tokens. Output has to go through some of the memory and processing from the AI. That's why the output cost will be extra for the charging purpose. Okay. So here for the haiku, if you want a fast response and lightweight, the input cost will be $1 per million token, and the output cost will be $5 per million token. Okay, so this can be used for routing, classification, and moderation of your particular input data. Okay, so the second type which we have is Sonnet 4.6 currently. It is a balanced intelligence. So the input will cost you $3 per to million token, and output will cost you $15 per million token. So we can use it for daily activities, coding, writing, and the other things. So if you want to use the Optus, these two billing models are available for the free users. The Opus is not available freely for the users, so you have to go with the costing model itself. Okay, so it is used for the flagship reasoning. Input will cost you $5 per million token, and output will cost you $25 per million token. So it is used for the most complex reasonings, agent workflows, and most probably maximum automations will be created out of it. Okay. So just to understand what is a million token in the words, okay, 1 million token would be probably considered as 7,50,000 words. Okay. So this is all about the costing model. So we'll have to understand what is prompt caching. Okay. This is very important concept while we are using the Cloud AI. And I will show you how this is going to look like on the cloud itself by using some of the extensions which are available for us. So if you're going to go for the normal cloud, this is not going to show you how much you have used, or what is the cache that is written already on your current usage, and when it will refresh and all, it will not be there. So we will use the extension and show you. Okay. So the prompt caching. So basically, whenever you are searching something, if you enable the prompt caching, so that will use a small amount of the storage and it will take it or it will put it as a cache onto the AI. Okay. Once you're trying to start having the conversations regarding the same request or a subsequent request, so it will not reprocess it again and again onto AI systems. It will use the cache and it will provide the information for that. Okay, so that can save the cost up to a particular 90%. And I will just give you an example and I'll try to explain this regarding the same. Okay. So for example, we have requested something to Claude AI using the normal input without any cache. Okay. So it's gonna cost you $3 per million token. Okay. Once the million token is over, again it will cost us the extra $3 for the furthermore communications, okay, to process that particular request. If we enable the cache, then we can save a lot of amount because for the first go, it has to write it onto the cache. Instead of a $3, it will cost you $3.75 per million token. Once you start reading that specific cache for the next request, it will not cost you $3. It will cost you $0.3. Okay. So it is 90% of the savings that you can make it enabling the cache or using the cache to save our amount. So when you're planning for the enterprise uh, plans and the utilizations, the caching scenarios would help us a lot to save the cost. Okay, and how limitation for the normal user that works. Basically, when we go to the Claude AI UI, we will understand more, but we just have to understand there are a particular 5 hour block. Okay, the minute you start using this particular AI, that clock starts from there. So there is no reset for a day or month or as such. So it's a 5 hours block. Okay, so it keeps refreshing after every hour once you start utilizing this particular UI. Okay, so how this limit restricts a user, how this will be consumed. Okay, as a limit is whatever we will try to use on the AI that is considered as a specific tokens, right? So those tokens will get over depends on different scenarios. Okay. So if our message lengths are very huge, okay, at that time also limitation will get over easily. If we have a large attachments, it has to read, so it will consume more tokens, it will get over easily. If you're gonna use the Opus and it will cost you extra because it is the highest processing unit that they have, so they will cost you extra to use this particular model. At that time also limit might get over easily. And features that are used for web search, code execution or extra tokens, all those things can be utilized more when we are doing such activities. Especially, there is something called a peak hour, okay, which means on the weekdays, 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. PT or 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. EST, that burns faster. Okay, so if you are able to utilize the AI after these peak hours, that would be easy for you to utilize more tokens. Okay, and the if conversations are very deep, that too, if you have a past history, then you want to reload it and reuse it, then also the limitation usage limitation might get over as soon as possible. Whenever you're trying to use a browser UI or a Cloud Code or the Cloud desktop version, any version that which we have right now on the cloud will fall into the same limitation category. So there is no differentiation between the type of the app that we are trying to use it here. Okay, so we'll have to compare the plans when we are choosing these things. Okay, there might be a company that they want to use the plans, or there might be a few people they want to utilize these costing models. Okay, so we should be well aware of this particular costings. Then only we will be able to utilize maximum amount of the cloud. Okay, the free tier will might have it can process 30 to 40 messages per day, and the free tier will have sonnet and haiku models, and the context we can consider that 200k tokens that can be exchanged per day, and it is kind of a basic feature that is available right now. Okay, so the next plan is pro, so it's gonna cost you $20 per month, and it can exchange around 45 messages per 5 hours only. So the major difference here you can see, we can exchange 40 to 30 to 40 messages per day. The minute we start paying $20 per month, usage will become 45 messages per 5 hours. Okay, after that, what we do? Uh, we will consider the models which are available. So basically, it will have Sonnet, Haiku, and Opus also. Okay. So again, the context can be 200k tokens for this. Okay, and the highlight here is it will have the priority access and the projects. Okay, so you can create projects under that. We'll explain how we can do that into when we go into the UI. Okay, when your usage is more and the 45 messages per 5 hours are not enough, okay, or 200k tokens per 5 hours are not enough, you can go with max 5x. It is $100 per month. So maximum developers and the other organizations are trying to utilize the same thing to get the good benefit out of it. So basically, the usage will be 5x Pro, which is kind of a 225 messages per 5 hours. It'll have all the modules, and it will have the context up to 1 million token. And the highlight here is it's a same cost per message as Pro. Okay. And the next thing we have as a plan is max 20, and it's gonna cost you $200 per month, and the usage we will have 20x Pro, which means we're gonna have 1,000 plus messages per day. Okay, it'll have all the modules. It'll have up to 1 million tokens context. The very important thing here is it can be 50% cheaper per message when it is comparing to Pro module. Okay, why? Because so it will be having a particular more responses, and it will cost you lesser per message. Okay. And the next thing is if you're going to go with the team, there is one more plan called team that will cost you $30 per seat per month. Okay. So if you have 5 to 6 members, that will be multiplied by that particular $30. So it'll have higher than the pro module, and it'll have all the modules, and context can go up to 1 million tokens, and it'll have a single sign-on, no data training. So what does it mean when it is being used as a team? Whatever the data or the automations or projects which you're going to set up, this will not used for the anthropic training model. So your data will not be taken as a training data. So this will have a privacy for that. Okay. So this is all about the planning comparison. So we will quickly look at the API limitations and triggers. So basically, usage limits per month will be like monthly spending caps will be there, and then uh, see basically the differentiation between the usage limit and the rate limit. Basically, it is measured depends on the monthly spending caps and request per minute. Okay, so if you are a developer and if you want to go with the different aspects, you can just go through this particular slide. and this won't matter much for us to look at the different things. Okay, here we're gonna look at how to basically use less token and get more output from the cloud AI. Okay, so we'll have to start fresh, and we'll have to combine the questions together, and we'll have to choose the right model for a right work, avoid the peak hours, and use the prompt caching, and use the batch API if it is possible, and monitor your usages and split the workload strategy accordingly. Okay, so these are all the things that we have discussed. Without making any delay, let's move in and look at the UI, and we'll try to explore more how to look at the usages here. Okay, so there is an extension which is available for all the browser category. Especially, I have tried on Google Chrome and the Firefox. It is working as expected, and it is beautiful to see monitor such things. Okay, so when we're going to use these things, when we're going to, try to explore something according to the concepts, we will not be much aware of what is already being used, whether the task will be completed within that given 5 hours time or not. So if we're going to start it and then if we are half finished work, then it will be a problem for us, and the reliability on the AI will also be a problem for us. Okay, so for that, what we do, we'll have to enable this extension for the specific browser for the Claude usage tracker. Okay, and that can show you these details. Okay, also, I would like to show you on the particular chats also how we can see these things. Okay. Before going there, there is something called usage. The minute you install this extension, there is something called a usage, visibility. It will come here. Also, you will be able to see the session. Okay. Which means how much percentage you have used within that 5 hours quota, when it will be resetted within that 5 hours, how many minutes left for the next reset of the 5 hour block. Okay, and how many messages left if you're going to specifically go with the pro and the other things. It will also show you how many messages left for you. Okay, this is a very beautiful extension. Okay, let's search some chat and then let's see how this gonna affect us. Okay, so I have put the question, why should I use Claude AI? Okay, if you see, there are lengths which are being calculated right now. So it was at 26%, and now the tokens are being exchanged at 3,200, and credits are not being used right now. Okay, and if you see, once this has been completed with the response, the cost has been shown. Okay, also the message is cached for next 5 minutes. What are the questions, next questions that I'm gonna ask, that will be taken out from the cache to reliably respond to the specifications of it. Okay, so what I can do here is you will be able to just do extra chats regarding the same thing. So I'll just say that explore the specific use cases. Okay, now I'll just say that, and I'll just monitor this usage and lengths and the cost credits and cache. Okay, so here it is asking for some questions. I would like to go with the specific answering. Okay, thanks. Now the tokens are being exchanged, and let it complete the response. Okay, so after that, you see, it jumped from 22,000 to 30,000 odd. Okay, so likewise, these things will change. It changed from 26 percentage to 27 percentage, and within 47 minutes, that 5 hour block will be resetted. So this is what we have to track, and such token tracking will help us to finish our activity and plan our activity accordingly. Okay, so this is all about the Claude AI. If you have any questions, drop down in the comments. I'm happy to help you with the question. answer sessions. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.